Okay, so today I have the long-awaited Maverik Optik 2.0 shooting tutorial. This one is going to be with a really clean-looking mid-low pocket, as you can see here. It's going to be very smooth with its release, very consistent and accurate. Going to be fantastic for any attackman that likes to kind of dodge and feed, or if you're like a ball carrier, it's going to be fantastic for that. Because of that low pocket or that mid-low pocket, it's going to be down in the narrowest part of the head, so it's going to give you the most overall hold. So this pocket uses Lacrosse Platinum Mesh, although it will work, or it should work just fine with ECD Hero 2.0 or ECD Hero 3.0. So let's go ahead and get into the tutorial. Okay, so before we begin the tutorial, you're going to do a 9 diamond top string. Just like you can see I have done here, you're going to do that 9 diamond top string on the second hole of the head. So once again, you're going to do a 9 diamond top string on the second hole of the head. Okay, so for this tutorial, I'm going to use this black string with pink polka dots so that way you guys can see clearly. So let's go ahead and get into the tutorial. All right, so we're going to start the tutorial on the third hole of the head. So I'm going to put my string through that third hole. We're going to go into that first available mesh loop, back and through that same sidewall hole, and up into that same mesh loop once again. So this is just going to be our standard time loop. So there we go. Okay, so next up, we're going to skip the next 2 sidewall holes. We're going to do a knot. So we're going to go into the plastic first, making sure to skip those next 2 sidewall holes. We're going to go up and through the front of the next available mesh loop. And we're going to go back and through of this loop over here on the outside of the plastic. And as you can see, a small pretzel should form. That's how you know you're doing the knot correctly. We're going to take our string from the inside. We're going to pull the slack through. Take your fingertips, pinch the sidewall string to the plastic, and make sure that the knot rests on the top of the bottom rail of the head. That's very important. You're going to pinch that sidewall string, and then you're going to pull your leading edge string straight down. And these knots, since they're anchor knots, should all be really tight. So there we've done our first knot. Now we're going to skip the next sidewall hole and do another knot, so into the plastic from the outside. We're going to leave a small loop once again, go from the front and up of that next available mesh loop into the back of that loop that you first left over. Once again, we should have that pretzel form. Take your leading in, or take your slack from the inside of the head and pull that all the way through. Make sure the knot rests on top of the bottom rail of the head. Pinch that sidewall string and then pull your leading edge string straight down. And there we have our second knot. Now we're going to do 2 more knots. This is going to further tighten the channel up a little bit so that way we have, a very consistent pocket. We're going to go up and through that next mesh hole. It's just another knot. And now we're going to do that one more time. So one more knot without skipping any sidewall holes. And like I said, these should all be nice and tight. And as you can see, it's going to create a nice smooth channel. So that way that your shots and passes are going to be consistent as well as accurate. Okay, so now we're going to finish out the rest of the actual pocket, kind of transitioning from the channel to the rest of the pocket. We're going to do that by doing 5 SIs. So we're going to go down to the top of the next mesh hole. We're going to go into the plastic from the outside. You're going to pull your slack through. You're going to leave a small loop out here. And you're going to bring your leading edge string through that loop. And then before you pull this completely tight, you want to pinch the middle of the mesh, pull it up towards the top of the scoop. Take your leading edge string, you're going to pull outwards and then up and then down. And you're going to take your leading edge string, go from the bottom and up of that same mesh loop. And this is an SI. Now we're going to do that 4 more times. So down to the top of the next mesh loop. You want to make sure you're still holding the middle of the mesh and pulling up towards the top of the scoop, because we're essentially pulling the mesh away from our sidewall string to create depth in our pocket. We're going to go down to the top of that next mesh loop once again into the plastic from the outside. You're going to pull it through the loop that you create. And then we're going to pull upwards or outwards and then up and then down. And then through the same mesh loop, you're going to pull upwards and then down. Again, down to the top, into the plastic from the outside. Pulling your slack through. Making sure to pull the middle of the mesh and pulling up towards the scoop. And then from the bottom and up. We're gonna do that 2 more times, down to the top, into the plastic, and then from the bottom and up, that same mesh loop. We're gonna do that 1 more time. And then there we have our last SI. Now we're going to finish out this pocket. And we're going to do so by doing the standard tie off that we do. So that's going to be an interlock tie off. So we're going to go into the plastic from the outside first. You're going to skip this sidewall hole. So it should be on the last sidewall hole of the head. Pull your string all the way through, but you're going to leave a small loop here, as you can see. And then from this side, you can see we have 1 more mesh loop open. You're going to take your leading in string, and then from the inside of the head, you're going to come up and through that mesh hole or mesh loop. And then we're going to take a leading in string, go through that loop that we created or left over, pull the string just a little bit, but not all the way. You're going to pull the middle of the mesh once again, 1 last time. And then we're going to pull that up towards the top of the scoop. And we're going to pull our leading in string outwards and then up and then down. And to completely finish out the pocket, take your leading in string, go back down, but further to the inside of that same mesh loop. So that string is going to essentially cross over on itself. And then you're going to take your leading in string, you're going to come out and through that same bottom sidewall hole. And then from there, you're just going to tie it. And so you can see it essentially just crossed over on itself. And there we go. All right, and if you follow those instructions correctly, you should have, like I mentioned before, a really clean mid-low pocket in the Optik 2.0. As you can see, it's going to be fantastic for any attackmen or some midfielders that play offense. But fantastic for any sort of ball carrying or, feeding. Super tight channel that you will probably have to break in a little bit, but should overall give you some pretty low whip and a really nice, smooth, accurate, consistent release. So if you guys enjoyed this video or found it helpful, as always, be sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel for more content, and as always, thank you for watching.